Welcome, Variants, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. We just finished Loki episode 6, the last episode. It was so good, but we need to talk about the season as a whole because I think it really complemented season 1. I love this show so much. I think it's one of Marvel's best IPs so far in the new phase. Akram, take us away with your thoughts. Do you think this was a successful successor series to season 1?
I do. I really do. I think I was surprised with how ambitious they've gotten. I thought the first season was really ambitious, and in this one, I think took it to another level. I like the structure of how they composed the episodes. I heard that was a big deal in the writer's room. So for the most part, I think, of course, every MCU show, I feel like it can be its own thing, but when you're dealing with these type of characters and a scenario of that magnitude, it has to contribute something huge to the MCU. And of course, it delivers again. Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. The theme of this Marvel phase has been variants, the multiverse. Some shows do it in their own way, like Spider-Man No Way Home did it with magic. WandaVision kind of did the same way. Here in this show, it's like a more scientific route of explaining the multiverse, but I love how they go about it. I think it fits the theme so well. And it's almost like a paradox in itself because Loki is a creature of magic, and to bring him into this world of science, I think is really smart and funny and successful overall. But I think season 2 definitely, very ambitious. Not a whole lot of action compared to season 1, but I think that's actually the stronger suit of this show. It's almost like Kill Bill, where volume 1 was action and then volume 2 was more dialogue and story. And the last couple episodes, I think, were just phenomenal in terms of character arcs and character development. I think it just wrapped up, and like we said in the last episode review, I think it just brought Loki to such a good place as a character. And even if this is our final time with him, it's just nice to see that he's one of those few characters, not even just MCU villains that were just throwaways, just bringing him back in the fold of the MCU and then giving him time, spending more time with him. Even if we didn't see a whole lot of Thor, some of the Thor characters, I'm actually glad that, we gave Loki time to shine and to breathe on his own as a character. Because, for a lot of the Thor movies, he's always been kind of dependent on Thor to be his moral compass. But to see it in this show, kind of himself maturing enough to become a good character, I think that was really successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you because it wasn't even really Sylvie, because Sylvie has a questionable moral compass as well in certain moments. And it's this... season 1 had its own themes, and I feel like the themes are strong with season 2, and it really shows that Loki actually has to rely on himself and has to take the time to learn. And as we've seen in episode 8, he definitely, took time for
episode
character
6.
Development. Yeah, episode 6, right? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing what they crafted here, and I think that it's an important story to tell as well, on so many levels. And all the characters, they don't feel there's so many one-note characters in MCU, and all these characters, they feel like they do have some sort of depth. Albeit it's minute stuff they added to these characters, but nevertheless, it's still, I think they're rich, not with money, of course, but I think they're rich in depth, and you need that to really care for these characters and to also make He Who Remains a type of lovable guy. When we see Victor Timely, this variant, and he does seem like this guy that you kind of want to hug and reassure him that everything will be okay. I just love how they approached his character. And some character, I wish they kind of did more with Ravonna, her mindset. She was thrown away a little bit later on, and I think at the end, her end was really justified as well, just because of how they set it up. So maybe that's why they did it like that. But I don't know. I felt I wish she wasn't tossed away. I wish we kind of got that comic booky type of thing with that love thing.
She's kind of like a character I wish she would have learned her lesson at the end, but then she kind of stuck with her ways and was I didn't really learn anything at the end of the day. It's just I just wanted power. And maybe that's why she failed as a character. I don't know.
Which is funny because how did she end up there? Must have been Loki did something. So to like
Shit.
just throw her there, it's like,
So
yeah, the score to
petty.
settle.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'm glad to see that it resolved on good terms too, for the most part, for the TVA. The TVA is still around. I wonder how their job will be reoriented instead of I don't think they'll really. Well, they probably could still maintain the peace and prune people. I'm not too sure, but it seems like they're probably going to be a new task force to go against Kang in the future. We might see them make a return in Kang Dynasty. Like, this show sets up a lot, but it also reaffirms how strong the character of Loki is, and also tries to improve his character as well, which I like. It's kind of like an RPG or something like that. It's really awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, and we also have some new additions to this season. I mean, even though Ouroboros is pretty new and we've only got him for a season, I think he was a great addition. He definitely felt like a lived-in character. I'm glad that he didn't just like stick around for like one episode. He actually he ended up being like one of the main cast at the end. I thought that was great. I mean, we even had X5. He had like a few like shining moments in this season. Even had like a change of heart at the end. And even just like the side characters, like all the the Minutemen, even Miss Minutes had like kind of like a character like change at the end, which I really like that they explored her more as a character. So yeah, just overall those little details I think kind of made it shine and stand on its own legs, instead of just being like a setup for like a season 3, right? This definitely feels like if I watch this throughout, I would still feel satisfied, even though even if this was like a setup for season 3, it doesn't feel like it to me. Like, you know how Marvel tends to like just like, oh, okay, well, just pay attention to this because there's an important end credit scene at the end, right? This feels like to me like it was like almost like a movie, honestly. If I was watching a movie and I was satisfied at the end with how it ended, and I think it was just like beautifully played out.
Yeah, and again, the show it gives compliments to season 1, and we talk a lot about how Succession back in the day did that, where each season felt just like a really great continuation while adding new things, and it was just like a really smooth process to binge watch it. And I feel the same way with Loki. And yeah, you feel always like the stakes are high and there's this tension there, but there's some moments where they even play this particular music whenever there's a moment where it's basically telling the audience to capture this moment and see the beauty or learn a lesson from it. And I don't know, it's just something about the way how they do it. It just feels like there's a heart, and it's kind of hard to get that in sometimes superhero movies. And I think they encapsulate it really well. And it to me, I still think this is like one of the most important MCU shows people should be watching.
100%.
Yet it's so personable, and it's so it carries like a lot of heart behind it, and so I think that's amazing. I wish that's what I think Marvel should be about, and I'm like surprised that there's such a disconnect between certain shows like Miss Marvel. I mean, Miss Marvel's okay, whatever. You say what you want. She-Hulk, okay. Like, for example, She-Hulk. I wish that you could compare it, but you can't really compare it. And I think if it comes from one property, you should be able to.
This, to me, it doesn't even honestly feel like it belongs in the MCU, because I feel like the MCU, modern MCU now has such a distinct storytelling style. This almost feels like something out of like, I don't know, like a science fiction network or something. It's so definitive, and that's why I keep drawing comparisons to like Doctor Who or like Star Trek, because it has such a unique storytelling aspect of it. And that's why I love that they brought Loki, who is a literal god in this universe, into this very science fiction-y world. And I don't know, it's something about it's like him fighting this environment as well as fighting these problems and these characters. So I think it's just a great juxtaposition, and I think that just makes for really good storytelling.
Absolutely, yeah. This is hands down again one of my favorite shows of the MCU thus far. I mean, if you can consider the Defenders series or like Daredevil like a part of the MCU by now, that would be up there. But that's a really small list, unfortunately. And I just hope that they learn their lessons, they take their lessons. And I honestly think it really has to do a lot. I always say this with the writers and the directors, and I think they all did a remarkable job. And again, it has its own unique qualities. For example, the cinematography and color grading, or the LETs they use, the score. MCU scores are always great, but this one for some reason just stands out with like paying homage to this type of Vikings era score, and it's really great. And again, the cast absolutely brilliant. Tom Hiddleston always shines. I'm gonna miss that hair flick that he always does. I'm sure a lot of people will miss it. And Sophia de Martino, again, she's iconic. Although I don't like her hairdo this much this time around, but it's okay. She has time to grow them bangs, right. And you know. But yeah,
yeah. I think overall great cast of characters, and I like that Loki didn't get lost in too many of these characters. Even Mobius, I think, is a great standout side awesome. Character as well. There's just something about these characters that you feel invested in them, and they don't feel like some of them don't feel like throwaway characters, but for the most part, I think it was pretty successful. Yes, everything cinematic wise and score wise, I thought was really successful. Even the new intro for the Marvel thing was beautifully done. Holy crap. Man, they're really stepping their game up for the next phase of Marvel. I hope they continue to go down this route. Because this is definitely a standout for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if it's a standout for you, what is your rating for Loki season 2?
I probably give it. I give it 9 out of 10. I give it 9 out of 10. It was pretty good. I think. I don't know. I still prefer the mystery of season 1, but I think this, in terms of storytelling, was really good overall.
Sure, I think that's fair. I think 9 out of 10 is fair. I think any lower would be kind of weird because, again, this is high quality Marvel, I think, and that's comes far few and in between, really. So we'll see if there one day will be a Loki season 3 and like one of the phases, maybe phase 6 or something. If not, that's okay. I think they wrapped it up in a really brilliant way that introduces new elements to the MCU, and I can't wait to see where they go with that. And that is our review for season 2 of Loki. All episodes now streaming on Disney Plus. If you guys have stuck with us reviewing each episode, we thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. This is our glorious purpose. So to support us, please drop a like and sub to the channel. That'll greatly help us out. I hope we're not asking too much. And check out our other videos. We have plenty of reviews coming your way. Dylan, take us away.
Don't check out our other variants. Those other lunch tables. Don't.
They're dangerous.
We're 616 on this channel.
Yes, we're gonna prune them. We're gonna get somebody prune them. All right. Exactly.
No disrespect to them, but we're the real ones. But anyway, Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Check out other content. Let us know what you thought of this season. If you liked it or didn't like, let us know down below. But until then, guys, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.